The problem you get when you have GDVs at the lower end is that although you can under PD do all sorts of stuff, it's whether it's worthwhile to do so with such old buildings. Are you pitching this to us as a long-term joint venture proposition as a holiday let business, or as a refurbish them and sell them on? I would be more interested in a in and out type of proposition, a sell on proposition, as opposed to a long-term hold. But for me to do a sell on, I just find the end values a little bit low to want to get involved.
Next up, we have Joanna Whittaker, and she's seeking £445,000 for a mixed-use commercial residential property, which is looking to create some basically serviced accommodation holiday lets down in Devon. What you're about to see is Joanna pitching for funding on the hit Sky TV show Property Elevator. Now, what you're about to see is the pitch as it went out on Sky Channel 191 on Series 3, Episode 2 of the TV show. Now, she's facing the 5 angels who feature on the show, Nicholas Wallwork, Helen Chorley, John Howard, Paul Mahoney, and myself, Ranjan Bhattacharya. So you'll see what went out on TV, and during the course of the presentation we'll freeze the action now and then, and I'll give you the benefit of my sort of analysis and commentary and background thoughts on the pitch and how it's all going. If you're new to this channel, don't go away without liking and also subscribing, and hit the bell icon so you're notified when we upload new videos. If you're loving these Property Elevator sort of pitch analysis videos, then there are 25 of them in Series 3. You can binge watch the lot. The playlist is in the description below, so go there to watch the rest. So let's see who's up for investing in this particular deal. And let's hand over to the show's presenter, Elizabeth Warburton, who meets up with Jo Whittaker.
Joanna, welcome to Property Elevator.
Oh, hello. Thank you for inviting me here. It's a real pleasure.
You're very, very welcome. Where have you travelled from today?
Oh, I came all the way from Sevenoaks, from Kent.
Okay.
And yeah, it was a good drive.
Tell us about the deal then that you've brought.
It's a large property in Devon.
Okay.
In a beautiful setting, and there are 2 shops and 2 uppers, 6 units altogether.
Okay,
6
so
flats, mixed use, and well, I'm hoping to convert them into holiday letting,
which is a really popular choice at the moment, given everybody having staycations. And
that's right.
Brilliant.
That's right.
So how much money are you after from the angels today?
£445,000.
And is there anyone in particular that you want to back you today, or?
No, I'll be happy with absolutely
happy with anyone.
All of them, yeah. All of them.
Oh, well, good luck.
Thank you.
Fingers crossed for you.
Thank you very much.
And I'll have a little chat to you when you get out.
Next, we've got Joanna coming in to see us. She's got a development or investment deal down in Paynton in Devon. Shall we get her in?
Yeah, let's hear about it.
Joanna, thank you very much for coming in today. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and about the deal in Paynton that you're bringing us?
My name is Joanna Whittaker. In my previous life, I used to be a travel marketing manager for destinations and for hotels. So during the lockdown, I dedicated my full time to property development. I've done a few properties quite well, I hope, I think, in the past, and now I really love them so much, the projects, that was one thing that I really wanted to do. So I've done lots of self-educating, watching the videos that Ranjan's been putting in.
Ranjan's,
We've got away with it.
We've got away with it till now. And all of a sudden, look at this little face.
Bible.
Well, doesn't everyone watch these videos? If you're new to this channel, of course, don't go away without subscribing and hitting that bell icon if you want to do some great deals like this.
His little face.
You've made his day. The amount of money he's put into marketing that in the last year.
Yeah, he deserves all the success you get, don't you, Ranjan?
So now I hope that I've got a really nice deal to propose for you.
Excellent. And tell us about that, please.
It's a large property with 6 units. There are 2 shops on the ground floor and 2 flats above each of the shops. So it's there are existing apartment flats at the moment, and shops are. One of them is an antique shop, and the other one is used as a workshop. The location and the building is so beautiful that they would be perfect holiday homes.
So the two shops, can you explain exactly what the 6 units would be? So there's 4 existing flats at the moment.
Yes, and I was hoping to convert the shops into accommodation as well, into habitable accommodation, because from the 1st of August, there is a new PD rights coming that I would be able to convert shops or commercial property into residential.
And what's
Well, he certainly has been watching this channel, and I'll put some links to some videos that we have done on this very subject, what to look for when you're looking for shops and uppers down the high street. So be sure to watch some of those videos too. Now, of course, this is a big topic right now, because these changes have come through on August the 1st that allow you to convert ground floor retail space, particularly if it's not in a conservation area, without any hindrance from the planning regulations. And that can be a big boost. Now, particularly now as the market is not fully in tune with what's possible under these new permitted development rules. And that means there's plenty of first mover advantages, because the potential value from doing these commercial to residential conversions hasn't been baked into the asking prices yet. And that's why a lot of developers, a lot of canny entrepreneurs are having quite a field day in this golden period of opportunity, which I think is going to last all the way up until mid-2023, quite frankly. Now, if you want to learn more about what she's talking about and the rules that she's particularly going to exploit, then I'll leave a link in the below. I run a series of 90-minute free masterclasses on the subject, and you can just tune in to the next one of those live masterclasses for free. I'll leave the description link in the description, and there'll also be a little announcement on this at the end of this video as well. But let's get back to the pitch.
What size units would those be?
At the moment, I'm hoping for one bedroom.
Okay, and the existing 4 units that are there, what are they?
So there's a shop, there is a, and I'm not sure which one is 1 bedroom and which one is 2 bedrooms, because I was only being told by the estate agent that basically there is one 1 bedroom and 1 2 bedroom, but they wouldn't clarify on which one is on the first floor and which one on the second. So I need to check that one.
Possibly the 2 bed on the first floor, because usually you might have restricted height on the top floor.
Although there is no loft per se, so it could be either.
Do you know how big the floor plate is on the ground floor shops?
Not off the top of my head, but there are plans available, so I could check that very easily. So we can fit that with the 37 square meters for accommodation needed per unit.
I mean, this looks like a conservation area, isn't it?
It is.
So one of the issues there with the PD, because if it's not in a conservation area, you don't have to ask anyone. You know, you can convert the ground floor shop into residential. If it's in a conservation area, then you have to do an impact assessment on the viability of the shopping scene on the high street and all of that. So that is an element of
they would have
doubt.
to check. There have been other properties that have been well, maybe not converted, but they don't have the shop anymore. I haven't done the background information yet, because I've had very short amount of space to actually do the research, and I didn't want to rock the boat too much.
Okay, that's a good sign that others have done it. I think the other area, the more important area I wanted to explore, were the GDVs of each flat.
Paignton is kind of a mix of very expensive properties and the properties that have been built or created in the Victorian era, and they've not been very much changed. So they are brilliant size, but they do need TLC.
The problem you get when you have GDVs at the lower end is that although you can under PD do all sorts of stuff, it's whether it's worthwhile to do so with such old buildings. So your refurb budget, is that focused purely on making the 2 ground floor shops into flats, or were you planning on reconfiguring the upstairs flats, or pretty much just painting them and tidying them up? I
wasn't thinking about reconfiguring them. I was thinking about just bringing them up to modern standards.
Oh, that's fine,
so changing kitchens and bathrooms and modernizing them rather than reconfiguring.
I'm with you, yes.
I mean, it's slightly unfortunate that you've got commercial on the ground floor, because they're never quite as popular as obviously if there's more residential on the ground floor. And if and when you can change that on the ground floor, that would obviously increase the value of the ones upstairs as well.
Well, first of all, I'm not sure about this anymore, quite frankly, because we've heard in the news, of course, recently that Prince Charles says that when he becomes king, he's going to live above the shop. Buckingham Palace is going to be a full-blown commercial property open to the public, and he's going to have a flat above the shop, as he's described it in his own words. So who knows what's happening? And I think the general trend now, seriously, is that there is a lot more accommodation above shops than there ever was before, because more and more of it is being built. And the great thing about those apartments, particularly above commercial premises, is that when you live in one, you're basically within very, very close walking distance of all the amenities. So that is becoming quite attractive to a segment of the population who actually wants that. So that is something that's changing rapidly in many, many locations. And certainly the apartments that we build, which are adjacent or behind or above or commercial premises, do not have any problems in attracting tenants as occupiers. There's absolutely no problem there.
Remind me of the price you want to buy this at.
305,000.
Yeah.
I haven't renegotiated yet because I wasn't sure.
No.
I mean, I can't do it all by myself.
No, we understand that, and that's why you're here, and that's absolutely fine.
Right.
You know how long it's been on the market for?
It's been since end of April.
That is a good sign.
So you mentioned you've got another holiday home of 4.
Okay, the reason I asked that question, of course, it's interesting to know how long it's been on the market. We filmed this in July, so it's been on the market for several months. I think there are a couple of issues that are sort of emerging around this particular property. One is that the flats above the shop are pretty much going to stay as they are. They're just going to be refurbished and brought up to modern standards. The proposition to add significant value to the property will come from repurposing the ground floor units from commercial use to residential use, but it's in a conservation area. So it is not quite clear cut under the permitted development rules that you will be allowed to convert the whole of the ground floor shop into a residential flat. If it wasn't a conservation area, you would be good to go. So that is an element of doubt. And I think the other issue that's surfacing is actually assuming that you would get that permission, what the cost of the build, is it necessarily worthwhile with the end value of the flats in that particular part of the world?
Double bedroom holiday home 5 minutes away.
Yes.
How long has that been going? And the pictures look lovely, so it looks like you've done a great job there.
I bought that in November last year. I bought it because, opportunity arrived. It was off the market, and I knew somebody told me about people who wanted to move back to Scotland, and they basically were selling. So the price was right, the location was perfect. It's 5 minutes from the beach, and I needed a project. So I took that as a project, and it took me maybe nearly 3 months to actually redo it completely. But I've actually put lots of heart and thought into that property, because it is a terraced property, and it's got parking spaces. It's got 2 parking spaces, which right next to the beach, next to the seafront, is quite unheard of or rare.
With the existing units, you've got some rents here. Are they already let?
The ones in the property, they are let currently, but I don't know much about tenants. I would insist on buying it.
So 445 or thereabouts, purchase, build costs. I assume the build costs are based on something similar. You said you've done something similar
That's
nearby,
exactly,
right?
yes.
Yeah, fair enough. And are they actual quotes from those builders?
I can't get exact quotes.
Are you not sure of the size or anything, are you?
Until they get access to the property.
Is there any reason you weren't able to get the floor plans?
I can get the floor plans. They are available.
No, fair enough. It's just obviously how far that goes back. You know, the size of the units
They're
is
good
pretty
size.
important.
I mean, there are some pictures of the living room and the property, and the living rooms are very spacious, so they go quite deep back.
And you mentioned here that you can get a mortgage for 228,750. What's that based on?
It's the 75% of the 305 of the asking price. This is, again, if we renegotiate, it will be a different value. But this is just to give an idea of, I can get a commercial mortgage.
Makes sense.
mortgage or finance, and then remortgage once the once we change the use.
That makes sense.
of
I
the
assume you'd
of
be
the
open
shops.
to funding it through whatever means makes sense.
It's a possibility. There is a cost associated, of course, but it's an option.
It seems to me like you're somewhat interested in keeping them.
At the moment, the market is very hungry for holiday lets. Everybody's staying in the country. Everybody is looking for
That's
amazing
because it's
properties.
a great country to live in and holiday in.
So what's emerging here, I think, is that there are several questions about the actual property that has been presented. But I think there is growing excitement at working with Joanna as an entrepreneur, because you can see that she is really in command of her game. She fully understands this holiday let market, and she's already had some track record of success in renting out those sort of apartments at that location.
Unless you could buy this super quickly, you're going to kind of miss this
That's
summers,
right.
aren't you?
Yeah.
So
But then there is Christmas coming as well, and there is it's quite a popular place for autumn. And then between half term and Christmas, we've got lots of people who don't have children or have children who are not of a school age, and they come for quite often with their pets to go for a long walk on the beach where they can't walk during the summer.
I'll tell you
And then
what,
it's
some
Christmas.
excuse me, some beach this, isn't it? I mean, with
It is sandy beach. It's the only
Yeah.
sandy beach in the area,
Is
in
it?
the
Right,
in the
okay.
English Riviera,
well,
because Torquay is a public
Torquay
beach.
is the English Riviera. We're pushing it a bit, I think, to say Paynton is,
I
but
think I agree with John on that one, the English Riviera.
I've been there. I have been there. I'm not.
Bournemouth's
there's
quite nice as well.
All no disrespect to anyone in Paynton who's watching, by the way, but
Is that what your current place is renting for? Those
Yes.
those approximate rents?
Yes, there are the precise numbers. My background is in travel marketing, so yes, I'm kind of, that's why I know what people want to buy and how to market it to get maximum return of maximum price.
but your existing one is a 4-bedroom one, right?
It is, and it's suited for families as well.
Sure. And these would be 1 and 2 bedrooms.
Yes, there is a higher demand for 1 and 2 bedrooms, in fact.
Okay.
Even a single family. My house is very popular with 2 families going together or with bigger families.
And the numbers that you've got on the last page, so where you've looked at the average per night time divided by the 50%, so that's 50% occupancy.
That's correct.
Yeah. And then times your 6 flats. So that is assuming that you definitely get the 2 on the ground
That
floor.
is assuming, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, that looks like a massive yield because you put annual profit averages. But is that gross or net?
If we put it through Airbnb or Booking.com
Uh-huh.
at a price, yes, there will be management fee on top of that, and there will be some costs associated with that. But this is just for illustration. It all depends how many properties there are listed, and they've got a staggering ladder. But agents normally take about 10-15%. So we're talking about, I don't know, up to 40% or between 30 and 40%.
Is that what your agent's charging you for an Airbnb? That's cheap.
That is.
I think that's
Usually
that's-
20
yeah.
to 25% for a short term.
But then
Well,
I've negotiated well.
well, you have negotiated well. I'm impressed.
But that doesn't take into account kind of any
Costs.
management
No,
or
you'll have
any.
No.
Yeah.
You'll
Yes.
have the actual Airbnb and Booking.com costs.
So
Yeah.
what do you think those figures are?
I'm just taking the most conservative one, but it does assume the 6 flats. That's 37%, but that's not that's gross profit, right? So
20%.
yeah, you're lucky out. You've got to halve that, right?
Still interesting. Very interesting.
I mean,
So what we're trying to get to the bottom of is how profitable this is, because when you look at holiday lets, on the face of it, it seems massively profitable. You go on Airbnb, Booking.com, and you see prices quoted at £120 a night, £130 a night, this, that, and the other. But of course, you're not going to be fully occupied 365 days a year, so you've got to consider the actual occupancy level. The other thing you've got to consider is if you are introducing 6 flats onto the market in that same location. So yes, there is demand for holiday lets, but is there demand? There may be demand for 1 flat in that location or 2 flats in the location, but will your occupancy figures be affected by the fact that you've got so many available in one specific location. So that will need a little bit of investigation. And the other thing that Helen's drilling down to is, okay, you've got that sort of gross profit. Yes, you've got to assume a certain occupancy level as well. Yes, that occupancy level is affected by the quantum of number of units you've got in one location. But also, what is the actual net amount? Because the management costs for serviced accommodation, holiday lets, is more than HMOs, which is more than single lets. And that's because as you go up that scale from letting on a single let AST to HMO to holiday let, there's more intensive management effort required, which is why the cost of that management is more. And then you've got the cleans and the maintenance and the servicing and this, that and the other. So you tend to find that whatever the gross rent is, you're pretty much looking at that at 40% of that to allocate to the cost of running that entire sort of business operation. But you'll never be at full occupancy either. So these are the issues that we've got projections on given by Joanna, but ultimately we've got to try to ascertain how realistic those projections actually are.
There's also when the staycation is not as popular anymore, it's possible to sell them.
What have you got value in for the one-bedroom flats?
About 100,000.
I'm glad you said that, Joanna, because I think that's absolutely right. Because of the ones I did some research on, which were property was in an auction that we were looking to buy, and I was disappointed how low the flat values were, and it was around 100,000, 110 for the purpose-built, PD, but office PD. So I'm sure you're right.
Yes, these ones I expect that they will be very popular with people who want to buy a second home because of the location of it.
And do you think if you don't manage to if you have to retain the commercial on the ground floor, do you think that's going to have a great effect on holiday lets or not?
No.
You don't think
absolutely
it matters to
not. I think we just have to be careful how we're going to, who's going to be at the ground floor, but it can add value. If it is a nice artist or,
Yeah, I never thought of that. I mean,
because the area is already changing.
I don't know the answer to this. It's not a trick question. Do you know if Paynton has managed to get the 25 million town fund?
Yes, they've got to redevelop.
Okay, before we get onto the town fund, let me just comment on that. I think she's beginning to bark up the right tree now in this pitch, because I'm not entirely convinced that the conversion of the ground floor from shops to 2 flats is actually going to be doable under permitted development for the reasons I discussed earlier. And the next bit is, even if it was doable, is it actually viable? Now, when you have got end values of flats being 100 grand, and remember, when we talk about the end values of a 1-bedroom flat being 100 grand, we're talking about a purpose-built type flat in a block which isn't on a commercial street. You've got to remember that you will be on a commercial street and your entrance to that ground floor flat will be bang on the pavement with no front garden as such and walkers by being able to look in. So that would mean that there would be a discount of that flat compared to flats located in a neighbouring side street, which might be in a purpose-built block or have a garden and that kind of stuff. So you've got to remember that the GDVs of this particular flat will be on the low side. And then you've got the conversion costs. Now, all over the UK, we have a situation where flats are worth different amounts of money. A 1-bedroom flat in some parts of London will be £600,000-700,000, and in other parts of the UK you can be looking at sub 50k. But the thing that doesn't vary too much is the cost of conversion. When I go out and buy timber, plasterboard, kitchen units, bathroom units, insulation materials, electrical cables, consumer units, all of these items are pretty much the same from Howdens or B&Q or Screwfix or whoever you go to. They're the same amount of money wherever you go in the country. There may be some slight differences in labour rates, but labour rates are shooting up all over the place at the moment. But materials pretty much cost the same wherever you go. So if you've got lower end values, then there becomes a point where it's simply not worth the cost of conversion. So with that being the case, the whole strategy of looking for a commercial use, which is complementary to the residential upper parts, becomes a key point. Now, and she's actually bang on the money in what she's talking about here in terms of looking for a commercial occupier that would be complementary to the space above. Now, the rental yields and that kind of stuff should work in a way that she doesn't have to push the commercial rental income too much on the ground floor. So rather than aim for getting top rental money on the ground floor units, she should focus the energies on finding a suitable tenant, which will have a complementary use to the kind of occupants and tenants she wants to attract for the upper floors.
They've got the fund, yeah, 25 million town fund, which is a great, by the way, the government have given it to 67 towns across the UK. Of course, most of them are Conservative, funny enough, MPs in those towns, but that's just a pure coincidence. That's a pure coincidence, apparently. Funny that. So, okay, well, that gives me some more hope about it, because if you've got 25 million to spend, the government or the local authority have in that area, that's certainly going to give it a bit of a push.
They've got
Now, that's obviously a strategy to follow. Look where the money is being spent. Look for signs of regeneration. Look for regeneration funding that's been given by central government, because that money has to be spent somewhere. And if you're on the fringe of that sort of infrastructure spending, then you will benefit.
in fact a big project already in place, a redevelopment project, where they're going to revamp the whole seafront and make it much more tourist friendly.
Are you pitching this to us as a long-term joint venture proposition, as a holiday let business, or as a refurbish them and sell them on?
I would say either or. I'm open to suggestions. I think both options are as good as each other. So I'm kind of hoping that with your experience, you will be able to help to evaluate the best option.
Do you live in Paynton?
No, I live in Kent, but I've got a home in Paynton. So this one is literally less than 5 minutes walk away from my home.
So you do have a home there, okay.
I do have a home.
Would you be managing it, or would you employ staff to manage it?
I do have an agent who manages it.
Oh, so they fully manage it?
It's fully managed, yes.
Wow, okay.
And these are that's why I know the numbers based on my home.
Sure.
But I do spend a lot of time being there out of season. It's an English Riviera. It's a holiday destination.
I know you
so
keep saying it's the English Riviera, Joanna, but I'm
I
not
know,
quite sure.
I like that.
We all believe it. If you say it enough times, perhaps you do. We
believe there's sun as well there.
And of course, if I do invest in this deal, I will also believe it too.
Or we put gazebo over the jacuzzi, and you'll be absolutely safe.
Oh, I'll be all over it.
Well, I say instead of a jacuzzi, just give residents a tin of beans a few hours before they come. That might be.
That's a very poor joke.
I know.
Your business acumen is much better than your comedic.
I actually can't believe I cracked that joke on TV. I mean, it's fine for YouTube, I guess, but I can't believe I said that. I mean, look at Helen's face, head in hands and all of that. But anyway, let's get on with it.
Comedic.
A couple of points I'd like to. One thing that people may want to know is that our good friend Rishi Sunak has introduced something called the super deduction, which actually applies to refurbishing accommodation for holiday lets. So you'd basically get 130% capital allowances on a big chunk of the refurbishment, provided it's going to be holiday lets. So that can change the figures in a positive direction.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Brilliant.
So I think it's time we probably make our mind up on this.
I'm not sure for me that serviced accommodation is really where I want to go, but it sounds like a great area. That the investment that you've talked about is incredibly positive for the area. You seem to really know what you're doing. I would like those numbers to have been net rather than gross, but no, best of luck with it.
That'd be lovely.
I like the proposition. I like short-term lets. We've got quite a few of them around the country. They work when done well. I just don't know the area at all. And from what I can glean from what John said, it's not quite the British Riviera, and certainly not the French Riviera.
Definitely not the French, no.
So I don't think it's for me, just because I don't know enough about it, and it's well away from any of my other property interests.
I would be more interested in a in and out type of proposition, a sell-on proposition, as opposed to a long-term hold. But for me to do a sell-on, I just find the end values a little bit low to want to get involved.
Your timing's very good, by the way, Joanna, because I'm actually quite interested in the holiday letting market, and we're trialling it up in Derbyshire and other places. We've got properties, so I think your expertise is very impressive, and actually, I think I'm going to make you an offer.
This is what I love about this show. You see, people come on the show and it might not be the right proposition for some of the angels, but you don't know what's in the heads and in the different businesses of all the 5 angels on the panel. Let's see what offer John's willing to make.
However, before you get too excited, it is based on being able to purchase the property for £250,000, not the 305 they want. Now
that is fantastic. Listen to what he just said. Now, when I came out of the deal, I said I'm out, basically. And that was because the GDVs weren't high enough and I didn't think there'd be enough meat on the bone. And that was based on the purchase price being 305. But of course, any property deal can be worth it if you can buy it at the right price. And that's what John's going in at, saying, okay, the GDVs are low. You can't do anything about the end values. But what you can do is marry up the fact that the property has been on the market for a few months. It obviously hasn't achieved the asking price because it's been on the market for about 4 months previously, having achieved diddly squat. So how John is trying to make it into a deal is by saying, look, okay, it doesn't work at 305, but it does work if we buy it at a lot less. Let's see how it progresses.
Been on the market since April. So I think there is a possibility we could do that.
I haven't spoken about the price yet because I
You've
don't
done the right
think I
thing.
was in the right
Absolutely.
place at
I
that
know.
time.
I agree entirely with you. So my offer to you would be on a holiday basis. I'll put all the money in and the refurbishment money in, and I would want 60% of the deal, which leaves you 40% of the net profit or net rental on an annual basis, if we can buy it for the right money.
I will definitely try to negotiate the price as low as they will go, of course.
Of course. So that's my offer to you, and I've got other properties that you can help me with as well,
Brilliant.
hopefully.
Thank you. That's brilliant.
I'm particularly interested in your skill set and your ability to do these. I like the fact you've got one in the same town around the corner. You know the area. I'm going to have to trust that because I don't. How do you pay yourself at the moment? Do you take a salary from your business, or how are you getting by?
I take salary from my business.
From the existing 2 properties you're...
Yes, the properties do pay, especially now when they're fully booked.
To run a successful business and be successful, passion is one of the biggest drivers. So I want to buy into that. I want to make you an offer. I'll offer you, for the full funding needed on the site, 50% of the profit, but I want to invest in your business doing this.
Thank you.
Once my money's returned, I'll drop to 40%.
That's fantastic.
I'll leave you a minute to have
I'm
a think
thrilled.
about both those offers.
Well, Nicholas has nailed that, really, hasn't he? I mean, he's let John reveal his hand, as it were, and pitched in with a much better offer. And he's cleverly, because, I mean, we all saw how capable Joe was. Although I wasn't interested in the deal itself, Jo is, of course, remarkably investable and knows her stuff. If it was just that individual property wasn't exciting enough. So what Nicholas has done he's kind of found a way of saying, look, Jo has a fantastic skill set. Her ongoing ability to find deals and do this on a regular basis is the thing to buy into. And this just being a first project in that overarching strategy. And the offer that is come up with, very interesting. Let's see whether John counters.
I'm gutted, probably. But anyway, there we go.
I'm sure I can find
Is that it? Just gutted? I mean, let's see if he comes up with an actual counter.
another house for you.
So, Joanna, I think
Great
it sounds
I
like you've.
offered based on the business. So
Yeah.
we're
It
expecting
sa-
to build a
it-
business, not just one deal.
We'll set up another company. I didn't say that.
It
No, I
sounds.
didn't.
It sounds
joking.
like
I trust this lady?
Joanna, it sounds like you've already made your mind up, but just have a good think
Thank
about
you.
it, because you're talking about two very different types of people. Nicholas has his benefits, of course. I'm not saying he doesn't, but I also have a little bit more experience. So
How can John wrap up that and deliver an impartial overview?
in certain things, not particularly in the business he deals with, I accept that. So just have
Pick the right person for you.
a quick few seconds just to think about it and then make your decision.
I came to the room to look for a business partner. This is just one of the properties. I believe that I can find lots of deals, and the deals are out there, loads of them, and they are absolutely amazing. What I'm lacking is I would say the financial backing, definitely, but the experience of how to make the most out of them. I know what I can do to convert them or to change the layout or design or things like that, but there is lots more in property that I'm still learning. Is the business longevity that I'm looking for, definitely.
And your decision is?
I don't know. I think Nick's decided to invest in the business, so I'll trust him on that one.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
done.
Thank
Well
you so
done.
much.
Really
Well done.
Thank you.
So she's gone for Nicholas there. Do you think that's the right choice? Let us know in the comments below. Do you think I should have backed out so early, or should I have employed another tactic there? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. There are 25 pitches in series 3. You can binge watch the whole lot. The links are in the description below as well.
So, how did you get on?
Well, it went very well.
Yeah.
I got 2 offers,
Amazing.
which I'm absolutely thrilled
Yeah.
with, and I've decided to go with Nicholas because it's the hope for longevity, for building a relationship and a business together. So I'm
Amazing.
really, really thrilled.
Oh,
Thank-
congratulations. So you swayed with Nicholas. Did he give you like a better percentage in the deal, or was it purely because of his experience?
It was about investing in business and wanting to build a longer relationship.
Yep.
So I came here looking for a business partner, for experience, for support, not just for one-off project, which obviously it will be absolutely amazing if I got just funding
Yeah.
for one house.
Yeah.
Getting a proposal for a longer relationship is absolutely made my time.
Amazing.
I'm thrilled.
Oh,
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you
yeah.
very much.
The long-term goal is always what to aim
Absolutely.
for, hey?
Happy with that.
She was
She's awesome.
impressive.
Play nicely.
I'm gutted that I wasn't a bit more ballsy than that. But you have got more business acumen in that respect, I think. To be fair, Nicholas, she'll be better
Very
with
kind.
you.
She needs a bit of work, but she's got the passion and
I probably
she's going to do
should've-
the work.
You know,
No, you
I
took the
was a-
right punt actually on the business. That was a good
that's
move.
yeah.
That
He's
was
done it
quite
again
obvious,
to me. He
actually.
did it last year, and he's done it again.
You can see I'm a bit gutted there as well. The look on my face is pretty much, I wish I'd thought of pitching it in that sort of way. Very, very full marks to Nicholas there.
In the last series, he's
To me,
done it.
that deal, if we can convince a valuer of the GDV's anything like she says, it's a no money down deal in 3 or 4 months. No money left
I
in.
agree. I mean,
And
it
then
needs
she
to-
runs it and it's all
It needs to
profit.
come at 240, 250.
And I get my money back and get
Which is, by the way,
Gee, so even at those
40 odd thousand of
half
pop.
those
half that.
yields.
1 year I've got it back, right?
Happy days.
If that's half right.
Painting is okay. Parts of painting are fine.
Can't cut
I
that.
mean, it's like it's an old-fashioned seaside resort. So, and it's having a lot of
Yeah.
money pumped into it.
Yeah,
so
if they've got that
I think
funds.
your timing, Nicholas, is absolutely fine. And if you don't mind, if she can help me on the one in Exmouth, I'll be grateful.
Yeah, of
Within
course,
your
John,
new
of course.
company, of course.
Sounds like she's going to set up a new company with you anyway. She's already broken my exclusivity agreement.
She seems very decent and very honest.
She does.
And
She
I
sounds
think you've
lovely.
done very, very well.
High streets across the land are changing forever. Basically, there's an oversupply of retail premises. Shops are closing down, more are going to close down in the future. The government know this, and that's why they're introducing a light touch planning system which allows small developers to easily repurpose these buildings to residential use under a light touch planning regime called permitted development. Now, this is going to be the biggest revolution and the biggest change and the biggest opportunity for property investors that I've ever seen. And this is all coming into effect on 1st of August. So you need to know what's happening and what properties to look for to take advantage of these opportunities so that you can get in there and take that first mover advantage. I've got a 90-minute free masterclass to get you ready for August the 1st. Make sure you join me, click the link below. Whether you're a beginner or expert, we'll get you started.